very blue in here. Wow. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a working mom of two, if you don't already know who I am. I film videos about being a working mom, living out in rural Virginia, and Trunk Club, because who doesn't love Trunk Club? Today, I'm going to be filming a video about kind of my breastfeeding journey with my son, Justice. Justice is nearly a year old. He'll be a year old in about a week and a half. And I'm still breastfeeding him. I'm working full time. So that's honestly something that I personally am very proud of. If you give your kid formula, I'm not judging you at all. It was just a personal goal of mine to see how long I could make it with Justice, and I'm shocked I made it to a year. With Eloise, so Eloise is my 3-year-old daughter. I also breastfed Eloise exclusively in the beginning. I went back to work when she was about 3 months old, so I took 12 weeks of maternity leave. It was not paid at that time for her. So that's what we could afford for me to take off from work unpaid. And then I went back to work and I pumped at work until she was about 8 months old. And then at 8 months, it was just entirely too stressful for me. I do have an incredible employer that for nursing moms up to a year after the birth of the child, they provide mother's rooms for us, and you are allowed 30 minutes of paid break time every 2 hours to go and pump in one of those rooms. They're pretty nice. The one that I was in the old building when I had Eloise was a single room. It could get annoying trying to schedule when to go in. It was just a single room, had a chair, a sink, and a little mini fridge. So it would really stink if at the end of the day you're like, all right, let me go grab my milk and leave. And there was a woman pumping in there, like you couldn't access the fridge because the door was locked. So luckily the building that I'm in now for Justice has a really nice room. You need a code to get into it. Once you're inside the room, there's a curtain divider with 2 sections so that 2 women can pump at a time. You just pull the curtain, and then it has a sink and a fridge outside of the curtain area. So at the end of the day, you can grab your stuff. You don't have to worry people are pumping there. You can still grab your stuff. So I thought it'd be fun to give you a little taste of what my life is like as a pumping mom at work. So check it out. In all seriousness, a lot of days it does feel like I'm just constantly back and forth between the mother's room because I am pumping like every 2 to 3 hours. So it's pretty exhausting. And that's why I'm also kind of surprised that I made it to a year. So first I just want to explain kind of what the difference has been this time around versus with Eloise, and why I've been able to make it to a year with Justice versus just 8 months with her. My job has changed. I am still at the same company, but I did have a different role when I had Eloise. It was a lot more stressful, and it was a role where I needed to be like on the phone. I was doing some recruiting, or I was very like client facing in my job. So I needed to be up on the clock every 30 minutes to hour. So at times I would be up, I would be running around. I would be doing screening calls, and then I'd look at the clock and, oh my God, I only have 15 minutes before I have to be on my next call. I have to go rush and pump. And so I wasn't getting the time with that job to actually sit for 30 minutes and pump. It was just like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And the times when I was then going to pump, I was so stressed out about the time that I wasn't able to relax. Also, Eloise is tiny. She has always been a really bad eater. When she was breastfeeding, I always worried, you know, is she getting enough milk? And so my supply with her was just a lot worse than it's been with Justice. She started sleeping through the night at like a month old. I just wasn't pumping at night. I put her to bed at 7 and that would be it. Justice, he didn't sleep through the night maybe until, oh God, it was a while. He was still in our room. We would put him down at 7, but then he would wake up 2 hours later and want to nurse at 9 or 10 whenever we were going to bed. He would always wake up and nurse. When we moved him up to his room, I then started pumping at night. So every night before I go to bed, I pump again. I'm just someone who's never had a big milk supply. So I feel like going into nursing Justice, I was a lot more cognizant of the stress that I faced nursing Eloise. And so I made more of a conscious effort to schedule in more pumping sessions. And I'm just a lot more better now in my job. Like I said, I'm in a new role at the same company, but I am better about taking time out every 2 to 3 hours to go and pump. Once I was getting ready to go back to work, and I did get a longer maternity leave with him because I did get paid leave with my company this time. So it was, I think, about 18 weeks that I got with him. I knew that he was nursing well. So I said, I want to try to at least make it to 8 months because I know that's what I've done in the past and what I can, you know, do again. 8 months came and went and it was still going well. Okay, I'll do a little bit longer. And then 9 months, still going well. Somewhere between 9 and 10 months, I had to travel for work. Justice was going through a big growth spurt and he was just eating a lot more. So he was eating more than I was pumping during the day. He was starting to go through our freezer supply and it was super, super stressful for me. But I had, because I knew that we needed a supply of, let's say, 16 bags for me to be able to go away for these 2.5 days for work. We just barely made it. I worked in some extra pumping sessions. I would literally wake up an hour earlier in the morning so that I could pump before getting him up and then have milk again to nurse him in the mornings. But we made it through that. I remember telling Noel, like, I think we're gonna have to stop nursing. This isn't working anymore. And then it just kind of worked out. He got through the growth spurt. He went back to his normal eating. We were introducing more solids at that point as well. And then at 11 months, I was like, okay, we're a month away from a year. I guess we just go ahead and do this now. And now we're a week and a half away from a year. And so I'm getting ready to wean him now. Like I said, my work, super accommodating for a US employee. If any of you are overseas and watching this, I'm like, oh my gosh, 18 weeks of maternity leave? I get to pump at work. You're probably like, bitch, I didn't go to work for a year. So for a US employer, they're pretty good with maternity leave and accommodations for new moms. But like I said, they provide up to a year after the birth of your child. So I'm not getting those paid breaks anymore after he turns a year old. So I am going to need to stop pumping during the day. Right now I do about 3 pumping sessions a day. I'm going to be winding that down to 2. And then next week I'll cut out probably both of those and just do one around like 11, and then that's gonna be it. I do pump before bed as well. I will probably cut that one out And then I think probably for a week or two after I stop pumping, I'm still going to nurse in the mornings when he wakes up and in the evenings right before bed, just so we're not taking away all of the breast milk from him at once, making that weaning process a little bit smoother. He is completely off bottles. He has been for the past 2 weeks. At his daycare, they've been serving him his breast milk cold in a sippy cup with his meals. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an adjustment for him. He was using nursing before as a major comfort thing, and he's just, I mean, he's almost 1. He's on the move. He's so distracted. He's hearing stuff. He doesn't really have interest in laying and cuddling with mom to nurse as much as I wish he still did. So that's kind of a very broad overview of my experience of being a working mom who was exclusively breastfeeding in the beginning, and then, you know, we introduced solids around maybe 4 or 5 months. We introduced solids to him. Some tips that I have for other moms if you're getting ready to go back to work and you're thinking of pumping, definitely, you know, if you're still on maternity leave or haven't had your baby yet or are going to be going out soon, while you're home with your baby, work in those pumping sessions and build up your stash. So like after the baby nurses in the morning, if you have a supply, go and pump. Like stock your freezer to the brim with milk, because it's going to make it so much more stress-free if you just know that you have that supply. That was something that made breastfeeding pretty negative for me towards the end with Eloise, was I just wanted to cry that I didn't have enough milk for her, and that every day I would go to her daycare, I'd send her with 4 bottles, and I'd be racing to daycare at the end of the day, like wishing that they, you know, hoping that I could beat before they were going to give her her last bottle so that I could use that bottle for the next day still. And I just, aside from a couple weeks there with Justice, haven't had that experience with him. And I do think that part of that is that I had such a long maternity leave this time as well, so that I could really build up that freezer stash, which has been such a blessing. I have 2 breast pumps, which I would definitely recommend. I know it's expensive. If this is your second kid, it's nice because maybe you got one from health insurance, which is what I'm doing. The one that I bring to work is the pump that I got from health insurance from Ellie. And then I keep a pump next to my bed as well. I'll tilt you, you can see. Literally keep a pump here next to my bed. So I keep that pump there next to my bed so that every night before bed I'm pumping. And I feel like that just makes it a lot easier because you're not packing and repacking every single day. I'm stressed about getting all the gear out, cluttering. I have my bag for work. I just take out my little lunchbox, kind of ice pack insulated baggie of the milk every day, but I keep the pump in the bag and I keep that on the bench next to the door so I can just repack it in the morning after I wash everything the night before. Another thing is kind of an awkward one, but just like be honest with your coworkers about it, because they're gonna see you getting up and leaving every few hours. And you just gotta kind of from the beginning make it almost a little bit obvious what you're doing. Andy, you know what story is coming right now. So the first time when I had Eloise, I was coming back to work. There was a new coworker on the team. She was young, Andy, and she just graduated from college, and I was like, oh, who is this bitch? So annoying. And I had to get up to go and pump. I was like, this girl, like, she just graduated college. Here I am, like, a mom. So I had my little bag with all my stuff in it next to me, and I get up to leave, and she was like, where are you going? I was like, to pump? I have to go pump? And she was like, oh, cool. Can I follow you and sing Pump It behind you? I was just like, what? Thank God that she was like, so comfortable with that. But it was nice to get it out there and like have a funny joke about the fact that I'm getting up to go like milk myself in the middle of the workday, because otherwise it was going to be a really awkward thing. So it's nice just like get it out there. Yes, I'm back from work. I'm still nursing. You're going to see me getting up and leaving every 2 to 3 hours. I know that's really obnoxious, but just tell people. It can be super awkward with male coworkers. My old manager was a man, and so I just tried to not be like, hey, I'm gonna go pump now, but I would come in the morning with my bag of like pumping stuff, have it next to me, and then look at the clock, pick up the bag, and go and walk, so that it's kind of insinuated what you are going to do. This time around with Justice, I just told my like immediate team member, hey, I'm still nursing, like I gotta go pump, or hey, oh cool, you want to go to lunch? Yeah, I'm gonna just go pump and then I can meet you downstairs. Like just stuff like that. Just if you're awkward about it, they're gonna feel awkward about it. So it's a baby, you just came off maternity leave. There's literally like rooms designated for it at my office, so I feel like it's just kind of obvious. Also helps if like your coworkers see you like punching into the mother's room. They're like, oh, that's where this bitch disappears to every day. The last thing, like big tip that I have for pumping moms is make that time when you are pumping as stress-free as possible. A big part of that is figuring out ahead of time in the beginning of the day when you're going to take those breaks to go pump, just to have that in my head ahead of time. And so if you have meetings throughout the day, phone calls, just figure out ahead of time so that you're not like, oh my God, oh no, I have 2 meetings back to back. When am I going to pump? Figure it out, you know, start a little bit earlier that day or a little bit later so that you can make those times to go and pump. That makes it a whole lot less stressful if you just know from the beginning when you're going to be taking those breaks throughout the day. And then kind of in the same tune of staying stress-free is I try not to work while I pump. There are women who work, who straight up bring their computers in. I have been in the mother's room while there are women on conference calls. I have been in the pumping room, literally women like on conference calls, on their computers, showing PowerPoint presentations, like delivering slides. I'm like, you can hear my machine going. It's a little weird. I'm not one to do that. I will, if I'm having a really crazy day, I'll bring my laptop in with me. And 'cause I've got one hand, I'm not like doing work, I'm not typing, I'm not able to do that. And I find that it just makes it a lot more stressful if you're pumping and thinking about work. Don't think about work. I'll bring my work phone in, so if an emergency comes up, honestly, in the beginning, the best thing to do is look at pictures of your baby, look at videos of your baby, and just think about your baby, do mindless stuff, go through Pinterest, make your grocery list. Like take that time to really relax and stay zen, because that's what's gonna help you have, you know, produce more milk. For me, at least, that's what works. And it just, I feel like makes nursing such a more positive experience when you have positive emotions that are tied to it. So that's all. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, more videos about being a working mom, go ahead, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, turn that notification bell on so you don't miss any of my videos. I do have new videos up every Tuesday, and I am planning a fun video coming up, kind of the biggest challenges that I face as a working mom. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.